It is virtually impossible to view the life of Muhammad Bairam Beg Turkman, better known in the annals of history as Bairam Khan, without recourse to the Mughal Empire. Both his father and his grandfather were already in the service of Babur at Kabul. That he too would enter the elite entourage of the Mughal Emperor was in a way a foregone conclusion. Although for this, he had to demonstrate his mettle, his battle worthiness. It was in Kabul that young Bairam was inducted into Babur's service, so that he would be a constant companion of his favorite son, Humayun. Later in life, Humayun himself would owe the recovery of Hindustan to his tact and military generalship. And his son Akbar, the third in line of succession, would owe his throne and the civil and military administration to the Khan. Bairam Khan was from the Baharlu tribe of the Kara Kinlu, or Black Sheep Turkmans. They carried the image of the black sheep on their standards and flags. These Turkmans had established themselves in the early decades of the 15th century. From a nomadic existence, they soon accepted a sedentary dynastic kingdom based in Tabriz. Bairam Khan was born in Badakhshan, a place in the northernmost fringe of Afghanistan today. Later he was taken to Balkh, a place of trade, culture and learning. Having given up his dreams of regaining Samarkand and Farghana, Babur was now firmly established in Kabul. It is here that his conquering instinct turned towards Hindustan. Bairam Khan accompanied the gunners and cavalry and crossed the Indus, but it is not known if he actually participated in the Battle of Panipat, where Babur confronted Ibrahim Lodhi. The first Battle of Panipat, as it would be remembered in the pages of history, won the day for Babur, and with it the fate of Hindustan would change. Babur became the first Turki-speaking Mughal emperor of Hindustan, and Humayun, his eldest son, was in line of succession. Babur scarcely had the time to take up the reordering of the lands he had conquered, as he was still busy quelling the Afghans. 4 years after his victory at Panipat, Babur succumbed to an untimely death, a death that he welcomed to let his sick son Humayun get an extension on life. In supplication and prayer that his wish be fulfilled, he went around his son's bed thrice. Strangely enough, life ebbed in Babur while his son slowly recovered. Humayun was 23, the year 1530. In spite of the defeat of Ibrahim Lodi at the hands of Babur, the Afghans had quickly resurrected themselves under the generalship of Sher Shah Suri. Sher Shah had moved quickly and had fortified places along the Ganges. While some Afghans were concentrated in Gujarat under Bahadur Shah, Sher Shah preferred the broader course of the Gangetic plains. Along the Ganges, Sher Shah was in possession of Chunar. The fort overlooks the river and was indeed the only strong place of arms for 300 miles along the Ganges, from Allahabad to Munger. Humayun and Bairam laid siege to Chunar for no less than 6 months. The siege was long and futile. Frustrated, they backed off and moved on to tackle Bahadur Shah in Gujarat. Sher Shah and Bahadur Shah had already worked out an agreement between them that they would open 2 fronts whenever Humayun attacked one or the other. Bahadur Shah's protection of some Lodi Afghans was the chief provocation for the war. After a long pursuit of Bahadur Shah, Humayun laid siege to the fort of Champaner. Bairam's role in the siege and conquest of Champaner was exemplary. The Khan scaled the difficult fort wall for the attack. Humayun and his soldiers followed. Bahadur Shah fled the fort. His treasury fell into the hands of the Mughals. Back along the Ganges, Sher Shah remained the most formidable foe of the Mughals. Banaras, Jaunpur and Chunar were still under his control. Back in Agra, Humayun and Bairam reorganized their forces and once again came face to face with Sher Shah at Kannauj. And again by the Ganges. The year was 1540, the month October. This was one of those rare occasions when all the three brothers of Humayun had joined forces to take on Sher Shah. Humayun's forces were far greater in strength than the Shah's, but retreat by the Mughals was written everywhere, even though the battle was fiercely fought. Humayun nearly drowned in the Ganges as he got separated from his horse, but was rescued by a man called Humayun and Akbar Khan, whose wife, Jiji Anga, he later appointed as wet nurse to Prince Akbar. The Mughal defeat at Kannauj was thorough and comprehensive. Bairam and Humayun found themselves separated. Each fled the way it was possible for them to do so. Informed of the separation, Sher Shah made an effort to meet the Turkman and win him over to his side. As Bairam had taken shelter with a saintly man, Sher Shah was obliged to treat him kindly. Bairam was eventually captured, and Sher Shah, knowing of his unflinching loyalty to Humayun, treated him with marked respect. In the course of the conversation, Sher Shah remarked, "He who's loyal does not stumble." To which the Khan replied, "Exactly so. He who's loyal shall never stumble." On his way to Gujarat, he fell into the hands of a band of gypsies. After the night's revelry, when all had gone to sleep, Bairam moved on. He was in search of his royal companion. After a long and futile detour of various places, he finally reached Sindh and entered a garden in Jaun, a most delightful place, according to Abul Fazl. Humayun was delighted to see his Yar Wafadar, his loyal friend, and is said to have remarked, "The partner of my sorrow has arrived." Bereft of glory, reduced to the travails of men without power and wealth, Bairam Khan and Humayun reconciled themselves to seek asylum with the Shah of Persia, Shah Temashap of the Safavid dynasty. It was entirely Bairam's decision to seek the Shah's support, and he was able to convince Humayun of this. The Safavids were aware of Bairam's Kara Kinlu ancestors who had ruled from Tabruz. This added to his stature. Besides, like the Safavids, he too was a Shia. Temashap was fully aware of Bairam Khan's standing and referred to him as Amir-e-Muazzam, the chief noble. The royal party of Humayun was now reduced to 42 people. Her Majesty Hamida Banu Begum was on the horse, and Humayun walked on, leaving a year-old Akbar in the care of servants and nursemaids. The journey was a hazardous one. They were attacked and plundered by bandits. The frosty winter took its toll. Some men died. An eyewitness wrote, "All our people without warm clothes suffered severely. His Majesty, who had a fur coat on him, had it unlined, the exterior part of which he gave to Bairam Khan, who had suffered much from the cold." The Shah Temashap's 52-page farman, mentioning every detail of conduct and graceful behavior towards his royal guests, Bairam Khan and Humayun. The Persians have, in all ages, taken great care in hosting their guests. The arrival of Humayun and Bairam presented an opportunity of a singular nature for the display of this great quality. Their journey began with the city of Mashhad, literally the burial place of a martyr. This was the mazar of Imam Reza, the 8th Imam of the Shias. Imam Reza was the great-grandchild of Prophet Muhammad. From Mashhad, the royal guests moved westwards. Bairam had advised Humayun to visit all the important mazars and shrines of holy men, seers and poets along the way, before they met the Shah. This would, felt Bairam, please the Persian monarch and demonstrate to him that Humayun was of a liberal disposition. In Tus, the mazar of Abdul Kazim Firdausi, renowned poet, author of the Shahnameh. Omar Khayyam, the poet-mathematician of Nishabur.
لحظه عمر رو غنیمت شمریم فردا که از این دیر کهن درگذریم با 7,000 سالگون سر به سری با 7,000 سالگون سفری.
Apart from Khayyam, when in Nishabur, they also visited Imam Zadeh Mahru's Mazar. Further west of Nishabur, they stayed in Sabzuar and visited the Jami Masjid. There are some things that remained unnoticed to the eyes of the royal caravan. The life of the common people of Persia, which has not changed much since then.
Chop. Chop, chop.
West of Sabzuar, in Dhamgan, the Masjid-e-Tarikhane. The oldest mosque in Persia, the masjid was destroyed in an earthquake. It is believed Humayun and Bairam Khan made a visit to see the ruins. lavishly welcomed everywhere, the royal guests moved on further west. Meanwhile, Temashap wanted the Amir-e-Muazzam, Bairam Khan, to reach him earlier. This was ostensibly to make proper arrangements for the Mughal emperor, now in exile. In reality, it was done with the purpose to see if Bairam would cut his hair and don a Shia cap. The Khan politely refused, saying, "I am the servant of another monarch, Your Majesty. I presume you'll not misunderstand my hesitation to obey the order without permission of my master." The Shah was visibly angry. Their meeting took place in Qazvin, the place of a beautiful blue mosque that the royal party did not miss out on. Finally, when Humayun reached Sultaniye, the summer capital of the Persian king, after making inquiry about his journey and his health, Temashap asked why Humayun had come to his kingdom for support. Without any hesitation, Humayun said, "My rebellious brothers." The Shah then wanted him to don the Shia cap and accept conversion. Humayun welcomed the move, saying, "A Taj is an emblem of greatness. I'll with pleasure wear it." The Shah, with his own hands, placed the cap on Humayun's head. This pleased the Safavid. The astute Bairam had succeeded in making Humayun's presence in Persia as frictionless as possible. All further military help would now be possible. The occasion called for much rejoicing and celebration. Humayun and Bairam Khan then traveled further west to Tabriz. Here they met two important artists, Khwaja Abdul Samad and Mir Sayyid Ali, men who would later be the main painters of miniatures in Hindustan. Leaving Humayun to carry on with his journey towards the Caspian, Bairam went down south to Isfahan, a city that the Safavids had built and gloried in. There is no doubt that the Persian emperor's support helped Humayun in recovering Kandahar from his brother Askari, who was killed, and Kabul from Kamran, who was blinded and sent to Mecca. Humayun's third brother, Hindal, had been slain in a battle earlier. For almost 9 years, from 1545 to 1554, Bairam Khan was made the governor of Kandahar. The presence of a Shia next door pleased Tehmasp. He ordered the Turks of the Baharlu tribe to settle in Kandahar under the protection of Bairam. It was during this period of relative peace that Bairam Beg found time to compose a major part of his divans, his poems. In the middle of 1554, with Kandahar and Kabul under his control, and the nobleman Bairam still loyal to him, Humayun began his campaign to regain Hindustan. As the Mughals advanced, the Afghans retreated. At Machiwara by the Satluj, the Mughal army under Bairam won a major battle against the Afghans, who no longer were led by the powerful Sher Shah, but by his much less able son. Sher Shah lies buried in his tomb at Sasaram. Nasiruddin Muhammad Humayun returned to the throne of Delhi in July 1554. 6 months later, he fell to his accidental death. In a letter to Prince Akbar and Bairam, he wrote, "That day I descended from the roof of my library. In the middle of the staircase, I heard the azan and sat down out of my reverence. When the azan was over, I rose, but the end of my staff got entangled in the hem of my coat. I slipped and fell down. The corner of the staircase hit the lower part of my temple, and several drops of blood came out of my ear. I was unconscious for some time. When I regained consciousness, I was taken into the palace. It is all well now. Have no anxiety about me." When the news of Humayun's death reached them, Prince Akbar and his regent Bairam Khan were in the midst of a campaign against the Afghans near Kalanur. The death was kept a closely guarded secret for several days. The situation was pregnant with grave possibilities. Bairam rose to the occasion. In February 1556, Prince Akbar, now 13, was crowned emperor on an improvised throne at Kalanur, in the middle of rich green farmlands of the Punjab. The most formidable threat to the Mughal throne now came from a man called Hemu. He had risen from the ranks to become the general of a massive army of 50,000 cavalry, 1,000 elephants, and 51 cannons. In the confrontation, an arrow pierced Hemu's eye. He was incapacitated. Seeing him, the Afghans panicked and fled. Hemu was subjugated and brought before Akbar and Bairam. regent desired his royal ward to earn the coveted title of Ghazi by slaying the infidel with his own hand. Obeying his regent, Akbar separated Hemu's head from his body. The next 4 years, Bairam Khan ruled like a sovereign. He did all that he could in the interest of Akbar and the Mughal Empire. As the 14-year-old Akbar was disinterested in the affairs of state. The Khan Kanan was a great patron of learning. His court in Agra welcomed the learned. He was fond of literary men and was a competent music critic. It is said he virtually emptied his treasury as a reward to the singer Ram Das of Lucknow, who was only second to Mia Tansen. At Akbar's accession, Bairam was the regent to the prince and the caretaker of the empire. He was the hub on whom revolved the administration not only of Delhi, but of the entire kingdom. The civil and military powers were in his hands. Akbar was still preoccupied with pleasurable amusements like elephant fights, hunting, riding, wrestling, and things of such a nature. While all power was concentrated in the hands of Bairam Khan, now the Khan Kanan of the empire, a palace intrigue in Akbar's Delhi got underway. Bairam's powerful position aroused strong jealousies in Akbar's wet nurse, Maham Anga. She made sure that Akbar, now 17, could do without his guardian, as she was not only jealous, but also ambitious for her son, Adam Khan, a cousin of Akbar, by virtue of Maham being Akbar's wet nurse. The truth of this intrigue would surface only after Bairam's death, when a furious Akbar would throw Adam to his death. As a first step, she wanted Akbar to be separated from Bairam and leave Agra for Delhi. The wily Maham succeeded in winning over Akbar to her cause. Coming to know of the situation, Bairam Khan was keen to meet Akbar himself and sort out the matter. Akbar refused and wanted him to leave for Mecca, the Mughal way of retiring a man as eminent as the Khan Kanan of the empire. Bairam rebelled. He was captured and brought before Akbar. Akbar showed great courtesy. To his Khan Baba, he spoke kindly. Bairam accepted his fate and was prepared to leave for Mecca. ₹50,000 rupees in cash were given to him towards his expenses, and 2 noblemen were appointed to to accompany him up to the confines of the Mughal territory. During his long journey, he rested in Patan and took the royal boat to a pavilion inside the lake. This was part of a 54 square kilometer lake with temples, the most eminent being the Sahastra Linga. When he returned to the shore after his leisurely hours in the lake, the Afghans took him by surprise. A Lohani Afghan avenged the death of his father, who had been slain by Bairam in a battle earlier. Bairam was 61. The year 1561. From the Khan's camp in Patan, his 4-year-old son Abdur Rahim and his young wife Salima Begum were rescued by eunuchs and taken to Akbar's court. Abdur Rahim was doted upon by Akbar. The beautiful Salima, a granddaughter of Babur, Akbar's own cousin, he married. Some of Akbar's noblemen were not only battle-worthy generals, but also distinguished scholars and poets. In the course of time, Abdur Rahim, like his father Bairam, rose to the rank of the Khan Kanan of the empire during the later years of Akbar. A linguist of distinction in Persian, Arabic, Turki, Sanskrit and Hindi, it was Abdur Rahim who translated Babur's memoirs from Turki to Persian. He knew the poet Tulsidas, who spent many years by the Ganges in Banaras, composing his magnum opus, Ramcharitmanas. The two were aware of each other's poetic gifts, and on occasion communicated through verse. He wrote his verses under his name, Rahim, and together with Kabir, his dohas, rhymed couplets, delight and enlighten both the learned and the uneducated, the literate and the illiterate throughout Hindustan. Like a mystic, Rahim moved away from contentious religious attitude and spoke the language of universal truth. A poet, a scholar, among the 9 jewels of Akbar's court, Abdul Rahim Khan Khanan lies entombed here in Nizamuddin, New Delhi. Abdul Rahim's father, Muhammad Bairam Beg Turkman, historians seem to agree, was entombed near about the Qutb Minar, close to the tomb of Jamali Kamali. After 6 years of entombment here, a cousin of his removed the mazar to Mashhad in Iran. Books on architecture, archaeology and tourism on Mashhad make no mention of the tomb of Bairam Khan. Experts in Mashhad and Tehran have also failed to find the tomb or any record of it in Mashhad.